from Los Angeles, and welcome to Stock Market Today. On today's show, we're checking in on the charts of RH, InMode, and Pan American Silver. But we begin with a look at the major indexes. It's Alyssa Corum here with Ed Carson. And Ed, we saw a pretty quiet close, actually, even though we were down for pretty heavily much of the session. The S&P 500 finished down about 0.3%, the Dow down 0.6, the NASDAQ roughly flat. So we're seeing continued resiliency here, even with all the coronavirus headlines coming. Apple issuing a warning saying it's not going to meet its guidance, but still managed to close about flat. The NASDAQ did. Yeah,
it was pretty impressive. I mean, Apple's the first company that really is officially, we're not going to meet it. I mean, other companies said, well, we don't really know. I mean, we're going to see a lot of companies warn. I mean, let's be honest, or at least miss what their guidance was from a few weeks ago. And that's what Apple did. And not too bad. Even the selling in Apple wasn't too bad. There was Apple, a lot of chip stocks, and there's some other news maybe about not just coronavirus, but concerns about sales to China because of the Trump administration and possible moves versus Huawei, some other stuff. So the chip sector wasn't bad, and yet the NASDAQ, was barely almost flat. The major averages really weren't bad. You can not really seeing much of a move, in that whole day, when you look at that longer term chart, looking very strong. Yeah, and as we've been saying, it might be okay to pause here since we've been hitting that upper trend line. So we'll just have to see where stocks go from here. But there's definitely a lot of interesting charts still, starting with RH breaking out to new highs today, gaining about 5.8%, and gaining today on news that Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway increased its stake. And this has been a name that's been on our radar for a while, a lot of different buy points that we've been looking at. Yeah, I mean, I think it's been on leaderboard for quite a while. I mean, it's had runs before this, but even in here, there was sort of about a week ago, there was a couple of alternative buy points, like when it got over short-term resistance like about a week ago. But it broke through here, really strong. Earnings growth is accelerating. There's a lot to like here. It was added to Swing Trader. It was made IBD stock of the day. So we really want you to know that there's, that we're liking this stock right now. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, a lot of nice pullbacks and support at the 50-day line as well. So we will keep tabs on RH, but for now, it's still in a buy zone from that flat base. Yeah. All right. And moving on, let's take a look at InMode. Stock reversing lower today sharply, closing down about 7.4% in heavy volume after gaining as much as 10.6% early on in the session after earnings. Now, this is a prime example of why you want to be not jumping the gun too quickly when you see these big moves on earnings. Yeah, I mean, you want to wait often for 5 minutes or first hour high, especially with a stock like InMode, which is very volatile. It has a history. I mean, a lot of IPOs are, but this one in particular has big swings, and you have to keep that in mind. Even if when you do buy one of these stocks, you have to position size your position knowing that it may fall a lot. And if you bought near the top, you could be down 15% today. I mean, it really was ugly action. The earnings were great. The guidance was strong. Wasn't clear why there would be any selling. It did cross a trend line. It's you can sort of downward slope in that, so it'll handle there, really deep handle. It did hit there, so it's thinking, okay, I can jump in, but it quickly reversed. So, this is something to watch out for. All right. Well, it still managed to hold that 40 price level. And the time to really get in this was that IPO run. IPO'd at $14 a share. Had a couple different IPO type entries. So this is, I guess, the first non-really IPO chart pattern that we've seen, but it's now about 24% below that handle area at 53.20. Yeah. So it'll have a ways to go. Maybe we'll keep an eye on a trend line or something like that. But moving on, let's take a look at Pan American Silver. Ticker there is PAAS. Now, we saw a strong move in Pan American Silver today, up about 7% in heavy volume, heading into its quarterly report. Yeah, I mean, really strong numbers here. Rebounding off the 10-week line, you could have argued, alternate entry, but with earnings tomorrow night, just stay away from that. But there's a lot going on with the gold and silver names. Again, there's a few others. Barrick Gold broke out on earnings last week. There's some others. And today on Swing Trader, they didn't put any of those names on, but they put on a gold miner ETF, GDXJ, which is gold miners, but the smaller ones. I
I'm not sure why they picked that particular one, because GDX looked good too, but it's just, that's a way to play the sector, because there are sometimes some big drops there. AEM was a ticker that plunged on earnings and it wasn't immediately clear. So, but this is looking good. Definitely pay attention, because they're a hedge, but they're also showing growth, a lot of them.
Right, kind of similar to what we saw with Kirkland Lake Gold.
Yes.
So, yeah.
But that dropped off.
Right,
It's made an acquisition,
right, not anymore.
It's made it off, and that's one reason why you want to watch out for individual names sometimes. But,
Exactly.
But these are looking good right now.
Right, yeah, a silver stock that looks like a growth stock. We'll take it. All right, everyone, thanks so much for watching today. And the in-depth discussion will continue tomorrow morning on IBD Live. You can check out all of the details at investors.com/IBD Live, so you can trade live with the professionals and get your questions answered in real time. All right, everyone, thanks so much for watching today. And we also have a webinar coming up on Thursday all about how to profit with the CAN Slim investing system. We look forward to you joining that at investors.com/webinar. That's where you can get all the details and a notification actually sent to your inbox before the webinar starts. Cool stuff. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.